Tanner, a friend of the McCanns. In the files, Kate believes another witness statement from an Irish family describes a very similar sighting to Jane's, less than a mile from the McCann's apartment.
The reason why this is significant is both sightings were given independently. So when this family gave their statement, they weren't aware of Jane's description, and there's actually quite a lot of similarities. And it does beg the question, I mean, how many people carry the children on a cold night not covered, you know, nothing on their arms or their feet, no blanket. Now, either there's been two people carrying children in that way who haven't come forward to eliminate themselves, or potentially they're related.
But you think that child is Madeleine?
I think there's a good chance it could be Madeleine. Certainly the description there sounds to me like Madeleine.
Kate and the Find Madeleine campaign coordinator travel to the search team's offices. They want to discuss the details of the upcoming reconstructions and three potentially key witness statements that all tell of a man hanging around the McCann's apartment in the days leading up to May the 3rd, 2007.
The most important ones, apart from the obvious of Jane, is sighting number 3, the man in the alleyway at the back of the apartment. Number 3 is definitely a very important sighting because it links them.
The investigators have examined the statements from the 3 different witnesses and are now convinced that prior to Madeleine's abduction, the McCanns were being watched. The team hope this new information will give them the breakthrough they need.
You'd think it's got to be the same person, wouldn't you, really?
And all 3 say that he was watching the apartment.
Yeah. We're here to discuss the pending reconstruction that we want done.
So basically it looks like we've got 5 sightings really, 2 a man with a child and 3 just a suspicious individual.
Yeah.
And the 3 with the suspicious individual kind of tie in together.
They all tie in together.
A similar time, similar place.
Yeah, there's 3 in exactly the same location. I don't know what the Portuguese authorities have done to actually eliminate these people from the inquiry. So we've got to presume that they haven't done it and go with that. So it's just important that we're accurate in what we know and make sure that that's what we'll go with. No speculation. It's got to be the facts that we know and not try to fill in the gaps that we don't know.
I mean, I'd like to go back, but not for this, to be honest. It's kind of just below the surface. And I just, you know, I'd be scared, I think, you know, to sort of open that up again, really, so, yeah. I think it's actually going through the scenario of that night as well, you know. I mean, you know, even what I can remember of the night, you know, seeing Jerry that distraught, really, and sobbing and on the floor. I mean, I suppose I'm concerned that will surface again.
Kate calls key witness Jane Tanner, who has agreed to join Jerry and the investigators in Praia da Luz for the reconstructions.
Oh, we're okay, pretty busy. Although it's quite good, to be honest, to be doing stuff and focused, and it just sort of helps, you know, to be doing something positive, so. How are you feeling about the weekend? I mean, I'm really nervous and I'm not going. Thank you very much, by the way. No, I know it's a big step, but we appreciate it anyway, so thank you. She's trying not to think about it, I think, 'cause, I think she just said, apart from the obvious emotional concern, she's worried about the reaction of people locally.
Returning will be controversial. Praia de Luge was a popular family holiday resort. But things haven't been the same since Madeleine's abduction.
You know, we're aware that, unfortunately, this has all been a headache really for people whose businesses are out there, the livelihoods. You know, it's a negative, a child's been abducted from that area. And I guess in the ideal world it would all go away, you know, and everybody could move on with their lives. But, you know, our little girl's still missing, so...
Sounds good to me. Which one have you got?
I think, regardless of what anybody thinks of me and Jerry, and I'm a bit past caring now really, but, you know, I think people do feel for Madeleine, and that's the most important thing, and they want Madeleine to be found and they want Madeleine to be well. There has been a question as to why now, and I'd simply say, well, Madeleine's still missing. Why not now, you know?
I don't know if it is actually.
Yes, it comes after that one.
Do you feel like there's a lot riding on this weekend?
I do, yeah. And I'm nervous. I'm nervous because I realise how important this is to do, really, to get that bit of key information. I'm nervous that it could get sabotaged or it could all go very wrong. And obviously I don't want that because it's so important.
Yeah, we are desperate for this to be successful and to be done, and hopefully it might be one call, it might be 10 calls, but that's all it will take. It could be just one piece of information.
The offence was committed in Praia de Luge. That's a simple fact. So you don't start an investigation in Morocco or Spain or even Lisbon. This offence happened in Praia de Luge. It's a very self-contained resort, and that's where I think the answer is.
Dave Edgar is leading the search for Madeleine McCann. Today he's in Praia de Luge on the Portuguese Algarve to oversee filming of significant events described in witness statements. Statements which he believes strongly suggest that someone was watching the McCann family. He hopes that the reconstructions will lead to discovering who that someone is.
We might have been watching the apartment for a week or more. I don't think it was someone random. In my experience, random just doesn't happen. Someone just doesn't go in, pass her by and pick up a child and take it. These things are planned. Okay. This scene, you're standing over there now, okay, and you're standing at an angle. This angle. Sorry.
Yeah. Action.
Witness number 1 is a British tourist. She first saw something strange 4 days before Madeleine disappeared.
I was walking along the road with my daughter when I saw a man. I grabbed my daughter's hand and pulled her towards me because for some reason he unnerved me.
Would that be good for you?
She saw the same man again, this time close to the McCann's apartment on the day before Madeleine went missing.
The next time I saw him, he was standing on the opposite side of the road to the apartment. He appeared to be watching it. He was about 5'10", slim build and wearing casual clothes. Jeans, I think. I would describe him as very ugly, pitted skin with a large nose.
And as you're just passing here, this chap will be stood over there. So when you come up, if you just glance over at him. And
the second witness is a schoolgirl who lives near the holiday complex. 3 days before Madeleine was taken, she was with her mum outside the McCann's apartment.
I was walking to the school bus stop. I go this way to school every day. As I was walking down the road near the apartments, I saw a man on the small path behind the block. My grandparents used to live in that apartment, so I always look at it as I pass by. The man seemed to be looking at the balcony of the ground floor apartment. He was wearing a black jacket and leaning against the wall.
She saw him again as well, the day before Madeleine was taken.
I didn't go to school that day because I had an ear infection. I was walking up the road with my 2 dogs when I saw the man. He was standing on the road opposite the Ocean Club and he was staring at the apartment.
You've been coming from your apartment, which is over here somewhere. You turn the corner and walk down the footpath.
Well, the two of us.
Yeah, the two of you together. Okay, this is actually a sketch that was drawn by the witness at the time, and as you can see, he's just stood just where we are now and made eye contact with him, and then just walked straight on past.
Witness number 3 is a man with his partner from Cheshire. He gave a statement to the police describing a man he'd seen near the apartment.
I can't remember whether I saw the man on Wednesday the 2nd or Thursday the 3rd of May, but as we walked along the road, I saw a man standing next to the wall by the parking area. On the opposite side of the road was a white van. I paid particular attention to him because he appeared to be focused on watching the apartment block. As I walked past him, I looked at him, and for a split second we had eye contact. But then he just carried on staring at the apartment.
We're asking for people to come forward with information. For me, one of the big things is in any sort of major crime, the perpetrators always confide in someone else. They've got to get it off their chest. And it's that person, as much as anything, that we're aiming at, that someone knows something.
Jerry is back in Praia de Luz. His arrival and the reconstructions are attracting a lot of media attention. But for the people who live here, it's attention they can do without.
This is an area that relies strongly on tourism, and people's livelihoods have been affected, and I can totally understand when people are suffering economically and that they get resentful. But I hope they can understand as well that as parents, we need to find Madeleine.
The simmering anger is evident. A brand new billboard poster of Madeleine with "Help Me" in Portuguese has been splattered with paint. And at the holiday complex, Jerry can hear the hostility.
No one, even with a heart of stone, can take away that there's a little girl missing. Why anyone would not want to help find her is a mystery. And obviously, if we find Madeleine, then everyone can move on.
He goes back to the tapas bar, where they ate in the evenings while the children slept in the apartment.
I can't remember exactly where the table was. It's kind of in this bit, so it'd be about round here. And I was kind of sitting in this bit. I think Kate was here. Well, you can see where the shutters are now, and the bit of the hedge that's grown, it was cut, a couple of feet lower than that.
For the first time in 2 years, Jerry returns to apartment 5A of the Ocean Club. The last place where he saw his daughter, Madeleine, asleep in her bed.
And so I actually came in, and Madeleine was just at the top of the bed here where I'd left her, lying, and the covers were folded down, and she had her cuddle cat and blankie were just by her head. And it's terrible because I had one of those really proud father moments where I just thought, I just thought, you're absolutely beautiful and I love you. And I just paused for a minute. And then I just pulled the door, closed again, and just to about there. And I felt incredibly proud standing there and having, you know, 3 beautiful children. Well, that's I think the most ironic thing of the lot, that momentary pause I had at that door, that's exactly what I felt like. You know,